So that's my group.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Who did you work out? Who did you work out with before the voluntary started?
I just been working out at home, in the house, or going to the park.
Okay.
I've seen all that competition with your brothers in the house. Push-ups, sit-ups, working out, sprints.
Yep.
Who's winning those competitions?
How many brothers you got?
Two.
Two? Are you both younger?
Yep, I'm the oldest.
Hey, Big Max, are they going to be better than Little Max?
The youngest is going to be the best one.
Really?
I think the youngest.
You hear that, Little Max? You got to prove him wrong, man.
He's about the same height already as both of them, right, Big Mac?
He's taller.
Already?
Is he already?
A 14-year-old.
Wow.
He's going to Bosco, right?
Yeah, he had his first workout up there today. He had a little practice up there. They just doing conditioning now, but he was up there today.
Why?
So you're saying varsity as a freshman?
I could see him playing varsity as a freshman. It's just how, with this high school season, not really too worried about it because you don't know how this season is going to go. So just basically letting the coaches take them and whatever they decide to do with them, I'll be good with it.
Why'd you decide to go to San Bosco as opposed to following Max's footsteps over to Sarah?
Bosco's they won a national championship last year. I just want him to be able to compete on the highest level of competition. And I think their program has been consistent the last, 6-7 years. Yeah. So I think with that, I wanted him to be in an environment of winning and just, I like how the athletes look after they come out of there.
All right.
We're not live yet, so just so you guys know, we're not live. Still got a couple more minutes.
Okay. All right, cool.
Do you guys think Sarah's going to come back to where they were a few years ago? But they're not. They're still good, but not like they were, back 5-6 years ago when Adore and those guys were there, right?
Yeah, they got an opportunity.
That quarterback's nasty.
Yeah, you just got to have some pieces around them. I think with Sarah right now, at this point, you got to have consistent linemen coming in and talent coming in. And I think with the emergence of Bosco and Mater Day, a lot of kids that we were getting at Sarah started going to Bosco. Then you got the Lawndales and the Inglewoods, those smaller schools that are producing some of the talent that were and should have been or remained at Sarah. So you never had a lot of kids at Sarah. So when you start losing those kids to Lawndale and Inglewood and Bosco, it makes it more of a struggle. When you used to, when he first got to Sarah, it was loaded, talent everywhere, all over the place. And it hasn't been that much. You know what I mean? It's always, now it's about 2-3 guys, when back then it was like 7 or 8 consistently, going to the top universities. But they still have a chance because it's a really good school.
Yeah.
There is a really good school, really good school.
It would be
Does
nice.
Sarah play the go ahead, Terry, go ahead.
I was going to do you see the city schools maybe coming back to where, because back when I was growing up, I was LA Unified School District kid. It was the Carsons, the Bannings, those were the heavyweights in Southern California. But now, obviously, it seems like it's all the private schools. But do you see a Lawndale? Narbonne for a while was doing pretty well. Did you see them coming back and hopefully, being maybe like a Centennial out in Corona, at that level?
Not at that level. I think you'll have some schools that'll be good within the city. Like Inglewood will be good. Not a lot of schools though. Narbonne, the sanctions just hit them really hard. And when the CIF and city section is so focused on those schools, Norbond was the one thing Norbond was good for the city because it brought attention that they were on the verge of trying to compete with the top CIF schools and being ranked. But being hit like that, it really hurts. When you talk about transfers, when, the Mater Days and the Boscos and all the top programs live off of transfers. The difference with those programs are they not only get transfers, they develop the kids that they have their freshman year. When some of these city schools, they're trying to live on getting transfers. But I think it'll be hard because a lot of parents don't really want to send their kids to city schools, and they're trying to get away from LAUSD school district. And private schools, right now are getting a lot of the attention. I think what you'll start to see is even other smaller private schools getting more pub and coming, like St. Bernard's and St. Pius and schools like that are becoming the new private school because they lower the tuition for certain athletes to get to their schools.
Even back in the day.
Yeah, that's how it was for me in Vegas when we Gorman was the same way. I'm from Vegas originally, and so we had to play against Gorman, and they were big for, at least when I was playing ball. we used to mop those guys up all the time, but they were a basketball powerhouse back then. And over the last 10 years, they started to bring in all these athletes to play football, and they've been dominating the last 10 years. They finally lost state last year for the first time, like I said, in about 10 years. It's been crazy.
Yeah, Liberty beat them. And the thing about Vegas, those other schools is starting to build up just to beat Gorman. A guy that I played football with, he coaches at Liberty. And
okay, my dad coaches at Silverado.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, the OC. So they play Liberty every year.
A lot of guys that I played football with in college, a lot of them were from Vegas, North Las Vegas area.
That's where I'm from.
I played up at Reno, and I played in Reno. We had a lot of Vegas guys.
Cool. We're gonna go ahead and jump on live here in 1 minute. So I'm gonna start getting it going right now. It's a little bit of a process.
Hey, Little Max, are you a redshirt freshman this year? Did you keep your red shirt last year or no?
Yeah, I redshirt last year.
Okay. How many games you played last year? Like 2 or 3, right?
4.
Oh, okay. So you got.
I was gonna play my 5th game, Arizona State week, and then I got hurt in practice.
Yeah, I remember that. So actually, you didn't plan to redshirt last year. You were gonna.
Nah,
oh man.
Yeah.
We were not going to redshirt.
Try to go 3 and out, right?
Yeah.
All right, it's linking up right now.
We need to get that first game against Bama, though.
Yeah. I'm waiting for that. I'm man, after what happened in the last Bama game, I really want to watch that game. I think we can do well.
I think that this would be the best time to play them.
Yeah.
They're still Bama, still a good team. But I think we have a chance with our team against theirs. This would be the best time and best year for us to play Bama. We got a lot of experience coming back this year.
Yeah. Was it 16 or 17 returning starters, right? And guys who played a lot of games this year.
Yeah. A lot of people got experience. The team looked good.
Hey, Little Matt, have you had a chance to meet with the new coaches, Dante and Greg Navarre?
Yeah, we be in meetings all the time, so
okay.
Talk to them each and every week, Monday through Thursday.
Pretty excited to play for them?
Yeah, they seem like it's really good coaches. Even our first practice, love the way they coach. way they talk to the players and everything. So it should be good.
I love the first practice. We had one practice, and I just loved it.
Wow. Are we live?
Yeah, we're live. We're good to go.
All right. Welcome to another edition of Lando Troy Roundtable. We have the honor of having both Max Sr. and Max Jr. Okay. Max Jr. is a redshirt freshman defensive back for USC coming this year. How are you guys doing today?
Pretty good.
Doing good.
Guys excited for the season, Max?
Yeah, very
ready to go?
excited. Yep.
All
Just
right.
ready to get practice started and everything.
Been working out with the guys and everything, right?
Yep.
All right. Have they talked to you about what position you're going to play, or move you around a little bit? What have they said about that?
Now, right now, my primary positions are like the nickel and the dime position.
Okay.
But Coach Dante and Coach Nigeria also told me to know the corner position too. So just like go around the place. All over the place.
You have a preference where you like rather play, or wherever you're needed, you'll play?
Wherever I'm needed. I don't really have a preference.
All right. How's your knee? Is it fully you fully healed and everything?
Yeah, my body's fully healed. Everything feels good. Everything feels normal.
Okay. Now, kind of go back a little bit to, your senior year. I think you were ready to just have a great senior year. Your boys and everything. Got hurt early.
First game.
How were you able to? Yeah, I read it. I'm like, oh man, don't tell. Nah, not Max. But how do you keep motivated? I mean, you got to go through rehab. You got to take care of your knee. Okay, but you got to support your guys on the team also, right? So, take me through a little bit. What was going through your mind during the season, and how did you keep motivated?
I just had to stay positive throughout the whole thing. Just thinking about the future, about next season, going to USC, going to rehab, attacking it twice a day, and then also like going to practices, motivating the team, telling them what I see the other teams are doing, watching film with them, being at every single game also. So I was just staying motivated and positive throughout the whole thing. I feel like that's what brought me back stronger.
Okay. Was there some worry in the back of your mind? Because it's pretty, for a guy who plays your position and plays with speed and quickness, that's a tough injury. I mean, was there any thought in your mind, oh shoot, our school's going to back off? Are they going to, be more tentative in their recruitment? Any thought like that?
During the time of the injury, I was actually silently committed to USC.
Okay.
So, like, the day after, like, the first game that I got injured, I got a call from Delta and I got, like, reassurance, my commitment to there and everything. So, wasn't really thinking about other stuff.
Yeah, I started because I remember, I think you had committed, or you made it public a couple of months after your injury, right?
Yeah. Yes.
What about you, Dad? When you got injured, injuries happen in football. We all know that. Max been playing, practically most of his life. But what goes through your head when you see your son out there and you find out the seriousness of his injury? What were you thinking at that point?
It was
how were you?
It was something new because having three sons, we never had to really battle through serious injuries before, and I think the timing of it wasn't good for us. But just trying to keep him emotionally positive, worrying about more mental toughness and getting through everything. The mental part of it, the physical part was going to come, and kind of just reassuring him that he's done enough in high school football to solidify his standing with still playing on the next level. But you just don't want to see your kids down. And I think he did a great job of, staying positive and just working through it and then coming back. I think we might have rushed back once we got to SC a little bit. And I think that's where like a little nagging injuries came and slowed the process down because we rushed to hurry up and get back so he could play the beginning of the year. And I think sometimes when you rush, you kind of miss out on, other parts of your body when it comes to the rehab.
Yeah.
And I think that's what we made sure to address everything this offseason.
And that's got to be the hardest part, right? Because you want to get back on the field. You want to be there, not, rehab. What do they call it? Rehab island? Is that what they call it at practice? You want to get back, and the coach is probably holding you back a little bit. You're getting kind of antsy there, right?
Yeah.
It was sometimes I'd be at practice and I see him on the field, and I was thinking like, hold up, he's not. I thought he wasn't supposed to be out there. And then you see another coach or the who was it, the trainers running on the field saying, "Hey, you're not supposed to be out there," and snatching them off the field, early. So it was comical. It was comical at times, but it was tough. It was tough going through a season with him. Missing games and stuff like that. And then when he started playing and got comfortable for to have another injury come up, it was tough again. So.
Okay. And actually, before we got on air, but in terms of the coaching, Little Max, I mean, Dante Williams, Craig Navarre, how's that coming? What do you think of those guys at this point?
They're both great guys. They talk a lot of football. They know their stuff. The men are very good. They're great coaches. They coach very well. First practice, I like the way they coach. It was on this stuff, but you can just tell they really care also too. So.
Yeah. Hey, you got some questions for him?
Yeah, let's once again, thanks for coming on, Lana Troy, for this interview. I greatly appreciate you guys' time. You guys know me by Ty, but I'm using Mark's Zoom account right now for this interview. So when you see Mark Dickens on there, just know it's Ty. But let's start off with Big Max. If you don't mind, just tell us a little bit about your background. I want our fans to know about Big Max football background and where you came from. Go Rebels, by the way.
Never. That sends a cringing feeling in my body just hearing that.
But who's got the cannon right now?
And that's another surprise that bothers me a lot too. That when I talk to current parents who have kids on the team right now, like, how'd y'all let that happen? It's always been blue when I was playing. I think for me personally, I've always tried to, set myself aside from me playing football and playing in college to the kids playing, and always wanted it to be, based around them, because I felt like I made a lot of mistakes coming up and, playing sports, and try to put them on a easier path to success than I had. I think so far it's working well. I played a little bit of high school football, went to junior college at El Camino, played a little bit there.
Go Orange Coast.
Again, never. Never. That was a blowout game when we played. Then I got a full ride scholarship to Nevada. Some of the best times of my life, college football, with college experience, and just living the life of a college athlete. And I figured that's what I wanted for my kids. I had such a great time in college. I just wanted them to have that experience, and that has always been like the ultimate goal for them. So with him, he started it off, always led by example. Been a great example of his little brothers to having, the second one in college. So it's working well so far.
Yeah, I have to agree with you on that, Big Max. I follow you guys each on social media, and I noticed that you guys are a real tight-knit family. You guys got to do a lot of stuff together between you, your sons, and your wife. And I remember, like, not too long ago, you got involved in TikTok. You started having some fun with TikTok and stuff like that. So on that, what have you guys been doing as parents collectively to make sure that your son's mental and physical game is up to par during this quarantine that everybody's dealing with right now?
Basically, having it to the focus is on that there will be a season, to where it's like, no doubt there's going to be a season. So we need to get ready as if we know 100% a season is coming. So we're not working like, well, maybe it'll be a season, or if it'll be a season. We're working so when a season comes, we're more than ready and more than prepared. And
right.
That's the whole mentality. We're getting ready for Alabama. That's his mentality, is Alabama.
Right. So when it came down to these decisions for Max Jr., your other two boys, if you don't mind, what's your other son's names?
Mason and Marcellus.
So Mason's the one at ASU right now?
Yes.
Okay, so for those two, what was the process for you and your wife when helping them decide which school is going to be best for them, or did you allow them to make the decision, go on their recruiting trips, and allow them to decide for themselves?
I think we allowed them to decide. I know for a fact that Mason did not want to go to the same school as his brother. That was one thing that I knew. It would have been a lot easier for all of us, but he did not. He made it very clear he wanted to go to be on his own and his own recruitment and stuff like that. So he's at Arizona State and he's happy and he's loving it out there right now because he already went back. I think he's been out there 3 weeks, like 2.5. He's been back about 2.5 weeks, and they started back already. So with Max, his recruitment started so early, it just seemed like it was going on forever. And I think his went on so long, it kind of was draining. So by the time you get to the next kid, everything just seems so watered down at that point. And you kind of try to skip over a lot of things that we went through in his recruitment. And it makes it just go by faster.
Right. So this is for Max Jr. You were initially number 24, right?
Yep.
That's my number, so I wore that number too. So you switched to number 4. Why did you switch to number 4?
I wore number 24 when I was at El Camino too.
And when I would tell the DBs, I would talk trash to them. I'd tell them, you see this number 24? It means I'm too much for you, so be ready for me. So Max Jr., why did you switch to number 4?
I've always just wore a single number growing up. So that's what I feel comfortable in. So when I got the opportunity to change my number, I changed it right away.
Okay. For me, we watched the UW game, and my guys on LOT, we go back and we watch film pretty much during the season after you guys play. And then obviously now when downtown, we'll go back and we watch film. But I remember the UW game. You were magnificent. You were electric. I believe you had a sack that game, a forced fumble recovery, I think, and you were just all over the field. As a freshman coming into USC, such a prestigious university and football program, what was that feeling like for you to finally actually be out there and showcase your talent for everybody to see?
It was an amazing feeling. The atmosphere was crazy at UW. It was loud. It was going by really fast. But after, I think, the first series is where I got the sack, everything just slowed down for me. Football became football. And it was just an amazing feeling to be out there playing football again because, remember, I missed my senior year of football.
Yep.
So it's so long being in an atmosphere like that.
So tell me a little bit about your feelings and emotions and your nerves of being on the field. Did you have butterflies? What was going through your mind?
But before the game, I had little nerves. I had butterflies. My roommate that day was John Houston, the older dude, senior.
Oh, yeah.
Like, he was talking
good leader, great leader.
Yeah, giving me advice the night before. So went into the game. Nerves went away as the game got closer and just started playing football.
Nice. Yeah, we were excited to watch you play. And after that game, I said, man, Max is going to be a force to be reckoned with what he's already just shown in one game. I can't wait to see him out there more. So now that you have Coach Dante and Coach Naveer there, you've stated already that you've had an opportunity to talk to these guys. Have you had a chance to actually look at the playbook and see what your role will be this upcoming season?
Yes, we study the playbook all the time. The playbook is dynamic. Nickel blitzes a lot, dime blitzes a lot. It's a lot of 6 DB personnel too. So blitzes, zone coverage, dimes go to safety, nickel go to safety. Just a lot of different type of stuff to showcase on the field.
Is it tell me a little bit about the feeling. I know you guys have been dealing with the quarantine like everybody else has, but in your short period during the spring, was it like a different feeling? Because as a fan and somebody that follows the sport, and then obviously USC very thoroughly, I get excited every spring, every season, just for it to start. But I have a different feeling this year with the new coaching staff and the energy that they're bringing and their presence. Can you talk to me a little bit about, are you seeing something different with the new coaching staff on
It was definitely a different feeling. I feel like everybody felt that too. Like the first practice, it was fast paced. Defense was doing really well. Offense was doing well. Like all the pieces seemed to be falling together. So it was definitely a great feeling. I feel like everybody watching the practice seen that too.
So I read an article.
Fairly close group. It's a fairly close group in the DB room. I mean, you guys are all kind of within 2 years of each other, right? So there's a lot of competition amongst you guys, and I think you guys probably played against each other quite a bit in high school as well, right?
Yeah, like 7-on-7. Like that, yes.
A little bit of smack talking going on, or no?
Is there a little bit of smack talking?
Oh yeah, definitely between like different 7-on-7 programs and stuff like that. Like premium sports, B2G, Pro A. We bring stuff like that up all the time.
So you guys obviously are. I feel like our DBs are at probably the highest level that we've had in a couple years, and the same goes for the receivers. Who is, in your opinion, the toughest receiver right now that you face day to day from last year to the guys from this year?
Toughest receiver? I'll have to say Amon St. Brown. He's just explosive, strong, and everything. So I'll get that for him. And we compete. Okay. Like when I got back for one-on-ones and stuff, like my first week back for practice, I think it was the Utah week. I was going against him to get better, get back into like the feel of the game and stuff like that. So
you're looking forward to going against a guy like Gary Bryant, guy who's a little bit faster, like a bit more a challenge for you from that standpoint?
Gary Bryant's a good receiver too. He's little, quick. So I look forward to going up against him when we get back to campus and stuff.
How tall are you right now, Max? And how much do you weigh?
I'm at like 184, 185 range.
Oh, is that where they want you to play, or have they told you what the target weight they want you at?
Like 187.
Okay,
my target right now. That's my target.
And how tall are you right now, Max?
5'9.5".
So we'll say 5'10", 5'11". You always got to bump that up. So Max Senior, you have potentially 3 D1 athletes. I will just go ahead and say you have 3 D1 athletes in your home, right? How competitive is that in the house between the brothers? And I imagine it's a good competition too.
It's always a good competition. I think what I most enjoyed the last year and a half maybe is the progress from the middle one being able to compete with the older one, because for years, Max as the big brother, he's never let up on Mason, never. And it's always been destroy mode every time we work out. But now that Mason has been filled out and he's a college athlete, he really makes Max earn it now. And I see him going back and forth now, when before it was just total domination and it was really bad. And to see the youngest finally be able to really compete instead of like getting in our way when we trying to work out, that's also good to see. So when you get to the point where all 3 of them are just competing against each other, and it's all healthy, it's never a fight breaking out, or if somebody accidentally elbows somebody in the eye, they're squaring off. Just don't see that. Everybody just chalk it up as it's part of the game, man. You go on to the next play. It's never any whining. Oh, he held me or grabbed me. Those are things that just don't happen when we're working out, unless we let some other dudes come in and they're whining and complaining. But, within the household, it's really no excuses.
Right.
Good. Hey, Max Jr., growing up, playing at Sarah, Dory Jackson, those guys, who did you look up to either in college or pros, kind of watch their tape to kind of, maybe refine your game, on defensive side? Who did you follow? Who are the guys that you like to watch?
Growing up, I always liked to watch Darrell Revis because he was a technician, and that's what I like to consider myself, a technician. Just watching like his one-on-one tape, his college tape at Pittsburgh, and then just watching him in NFL gameplay. That's what I always like to watch growing up.
Oh, okay. That's not a bad guy to watch. So, what else you got, Ty?
What about in college or in high school? I'm sorry, when you were looking up to the guys, like you mentioned an NFL player, but was there any DBs in college that you said, you know what, I want to take some of the characteristics of his game and incorporate them into what I do on the field as well?
Definitely Adoree Jackson and Tyrann Mathieu, being playmakers that they are, making plays for their team, getting interceptions, fumbles, everything. Just being dynamic, a football player. And the guys I watched in college.
How about you, Max Senior? I know it's been a while, but who was your guys when you were what years were you at El Camino and UNR?
Back in the mid to late 90s. So I left UNR in 99. When I was growing up, we were looking up to prime time. So you had prime time, you had
Darryl Green was good.
Darryl Green, Neas Williams, those guys were elite. And when I was coming up, it was close to the same time, like right behind Sean Springs coming out of Ohio State, Antoine Winfield, those guys.
Charles Woodson was the same time frame as you.
Yeah, Dre Bly coming out. It's a long list of DBs. And sometimes it's hard finding really good footage of them on YouTube when you go back. But the stuff that they did, like Dre Bly's when he had like 11 interceptions his freshman year, and then it's a struggle trying to find that type of footage where you see little bits and pieces. But he was special when he was at North Carolina back in the day. And we try to go back and, pull up those type of that type of footage of players and stuff like that.
Yeah, it's hard to find footage of those guys. We had a question from Irvin on our page. He's one of our admin guys, but he's at work right now. But he wanted to know, Max Jr., how much prep time did you have before the UW game? Did you know going into that game that you were going to have a lot of PT for that game that week?
So the week before, I had a really good week of practice. Utah was my first week back. And then the next week, I followed it up with a good week of practice. So I wasn't really expecting until Thursday they told me to be ready. Your number might be called. And then Friday, I was really preparing myself to go into the game and be an impact player.
Yeah. That you were for sure. Max Senior, this is a question from you, also from Irvin. How is the vibe as a parent? What's the vibe like for you with the new staff and the culture around the program?
I believe, the parents right now feel really positive about what's going on, the direction the program is going in. A lot of the negative feelings are starting to, fade away, and in hopes of this year's team, turning that corner. And I think we all believe that we have the team to do something special. And the thing was, it was off of one practice, that one practice, it really looked like elite program. The kids were flying around to the ball. It was a couple fights. You see offensive receivers fighting against offensive receivers. Kids like battling for reps. It was, no gimmies. Kids falling to the ground and, getting helped back up. But you see the smack talking and going back and forth. It was intense. And we were just in helmets. And it was a physical practice just in helmets. So you'll hear a lot of people talking about that first practice because we were really energized. And it was a blow, one, to start spring ball so late. Other programs had 7, 8 practices in before COVID shut them down. For us to have the one practice and it to set the standard, and I think the intensity was set by the defensive coaching staff. I just like how they're all on the field and they're in the kids' faces and their ears, and you know, you can't let up. And they was pushing the kids to the limit that first practice, and you can easily see it.
Well, that's great, and that's positive news.
Speaking of intensity, I mean, the thing last year was when Coach Osmus came in, and he was just in there just working the guys. For Max Jr., I mean, what does he emphasize for you specifically? You know, when you're in the weight room, when you're working out, you know, what does he want you to work on in terms of, you know, building your body for playing defensive back every day?
Just getting stronger, getting more explosive, and just pushing us. He pushes everybody to the limit. It's different. We do a lot of weight training, speed work. When I first got there, it was like lackadaisical, I'd say. And then Coach Double A came, and his new
Double A made a difference. He definitely made a difference.
Felt the difference, pushing us each and every single day. So the workouts were definitely tough, and it made me a better athlete.
You guys feel ready for Bama?
Yes, sir.
I'm ready for Bama. Shoot. Couple more questions for you guys, and we'll let you go. We don't want to take up too much of your time. So speaking about that first practice, that intensity with the defensive coaches, and I would say the upgrade, I guess, in the way that they process the weight room training. I read an article, Max Jr., maybe you can confirm or not. You don't have to. But I read an article that you guys were in the weight room working out, and somebody had a negative demerit of some sort. And Coach Orlando heard a couple guys chuckling, and he wasn't happy about that. And he kind of voiced his opinion on that and kind of set that athlete straight. And it kind of, right there for me, reading that in the article, said to me, like, the tables are turning. Things just changed in here for the players in a positive way. You know, accountability from the coaches to ensure that the players are holding themselves and each other accountable.
I'd definitely say the first day Tyler Orlando came, he gave a speech in the huddle to each and every one of the players, talking about the intensity and how this is a program that should be winning and being serious about everything we do, attacking each and every day, going the extra mile in our workouts. So you definitely see like the intensity Tyler Orlando brings to the coaching staff and the team.
I had a question for one of our members. Sheldon Christie asked for Max Jr. Who do you see as being a breakout player, just by what you see on the field during practice and everything else? Who do you think is going to be like, you know, kind of maybe under the radar right now, but it's going to explode on the scene?
I'd probably say.
Besides you.
Yeah, besides you.
I would probably say Isaiah Polomal.
Okay.
You know, he works very hard and everything. He's a great leader, so I'd probably say him. Yeah,
I could think Hufanga is the one that gets most of the headlines right now, right, on the safeties, right? So, all right. What else you got, Ty?
Cool.
Anything else?
That's it. So, gentlemen, I really appreciate you guys taking the time today to join us at Landa Troy for some quick questions. Just want you guys to know that we follow the program pretty tightly. We follow you guys. We're proud of what you guys are accomplishing, and we see you guys working hard. And we look forward to you guys getting out there. Hopefully, there's a football season this year, and we'll be out there supporting you guys 100%. So, thank you to Big Max, and thank you, Max Jr., for joining us today.
Hey, before you guys leave, Max Jr., give your IG or your Twitter so you can get some followers.
Yeah. My Instagram is it's Max_5 with 4 A's in it. And my Twitter is Max_1 with 4 A's in it.
4 A's. All right.
Yeah.
Big Max, you want to throw yours out there too?
No, I'm trying to stay low
Max,
key.
You want to throw yours out there? Okay, that's fine.
Hey, I want to know what the 4 A's stand for.
Don't really mean anything. It's just 4 A's.
Gotcha.
His dad said he has to have 4 A's on that report card. That's what he said.
There you go. That's how you get the $20 an A.
Hey, I'm Chinese, man. We're required to have 7, not 4, man.
Hey, so yeah, once again, appreciate you guys, and then hopefully after spring, if you guys have summer practices and the season, we can get you guys to join us back again. We'd really like to have you guys back.
I appreciate it.
All right. Thank you, guys. Fight on.
Fight on, guys. Take care. All right, Terry, I think that's a wrap.
Yeah.
Do you have anything you want to discuss off the Max Jr. gone now and Big Max?
No, I'm just hoping we have a season. I mean, unfortunately, right now, they close bars in California again, which means that a lot of times that leads to whatever gets shut down next.
Right.
So we'll have to see. I mean, LA County, like always, we're always at the forefront of all these closures, unfortunately.
Yeah, I'm really interested to see that as well.
Yeah, I mean,
I saw that. I know we talked about Morehouse. They shut down all their fall sports. I think they're going to like hybrid classes. Some will be online, some will be on campus, but they won't be coming full force. But there's a couple other school districts. I know Las Vegas in particular. They're trying to go to the college model where the high school is going to go 2 days a week and then try to do the rest online. So that's going to be interesting to see if they play that out across the country for high schools and colleges. And then if, like you said, if we're even going to have a football season.
Yeah, I think season ticket holders for USC have to have their make a decision by Friday, I think, whether or not they want to have the season. But even then, there's no guarantee. I mean,
Right.
To paraphrase, the letter that went out is, this is what we're doing, but we reserve the right to change our mind at any given time. So they could decide, the Friday night before the first, home game that we're not going to have a season, or not.
Right.
No one's allowed to be here. But I think initial plan was like, what is it, 20,000 or 25,000 maximum allowed in the Coliseum. And of course, unfortunately for me, the big thing is no tailgating. That's going to be a huge thing for me. But that would be disappointing. I mean, I think we've talked about so much in our chats about how excited we are for the season to start and everything else. It would just, I understand it though. I mean, there's some precautions that have to be made and everything, but the selfishness in me wants a season.
Yeah, 100%. I would venture to say that 99% of the people, fan base, and parents want, and players want a season to be upheld so that we can get back to some sort of normalcy. But understanding the severity of the situation also plays a big part into whether or not we're going to have a season or not. But real quick with Max Jr. and his dad and them talking about the culture change that they were able to see just in one sitting with Todd Orlando, Coach Navier, and Coach Williams. All the things that I've read, primarily on USCScoop.com, and the chats that we've had, they've said nothing but great things about this coaching staff coming in. And I think it's important to recognize this now because, number one, it'll help with recruiting. Number two, it'll shift the culture and the mindset for the players. And number three, it allows Clay Helton to really just take the CEO approach of the program, in which he doesn't have to, be at every single location to make sure everything is running smooth and these guys are being developed and they're getting the right things said to them and, they're being prepared accordingly for the season. I think he's developed a staff that he can trust and rely on that's going to hold themselves accountable and the players so that they can be efficient and competitive come this season.
Yeah, I think the coaching staff's a real interesting mix. Now that I really think about it, is, I think I mentioned before that I have a friend of mine who was a Madison police officer, and he knew Todd Orlando when he played at University of Wisconsin and met a couple times because they were both Pittsburgh Steelers fans, things like that. And I asked him as soon as Todd Orlando got hired, he goes, "Hey, did you ever meet this guy?" He goes, "Yeah." He goes, "Nice guy, but just intense." And you got to have an intense defensive coordinator. It's just part of the DNA to be a linebacker and to be a defensive coordinator. But then you got guys like, I think, Dante, who's a little bit more, the way he recruits a little bit different. His guys love him. He seems like a very personable guy, which is why he's able to recruit as well as he does. I think the new defensive line coach, Soto, also is very, a guy that a lot of the players relate to, but at the same time, again, an intense guy, who's gonna, like you said, we got to go out there, we got to kill people, hit
Right.
people, hurt people. Not,
Right.
I don't want to hurt people, but that's the mentality.
Right. Sure.
It's just such a different makeup to this coaching side, especially on the defensive side, that it just brings a whole new energy that I'm just waiting to see it hit the field.
Yeah, I would agree with you on that. And for me, I think we talked a little bit about it last week, was that for me, I feel like the huge driving factor behind the culture shift and the change has been the change in administration. I think President Folt has come into USC, and she's had the opportunity to be around campus, see what's going on, make the changes that she needs to make, that she feels is going to be best for the university. And then with the Mike Bonhire, excuse me, there were some people that were skeptical at first about that hire, because of his, I don't want to call any names, Terry Wong, but there were some people that were skeptical, not just you alone, because of his credentials from when he was at Colorado. But like anybody else, we learn from our mistakes and we get better from those. So it's an opportunity to learn. And I think he's had a lot of success at Cincinnati, and, bringing him to USC, to a bigger program, he's going to use those lessons learned and try to create an atmosphere for the program that's going to be where we should have been the last 10 years. Despite us being down on numbers because of scholarships and all the stuff that we went through, we were still a pretty elite program. But I think he's trying to get the donors, the fans, everybody involved. I mean, simple things as changes like getting the players and the media to be able to go to practice this upcoming season. I think that's as minute as that is, that's still pretty huge for everybody. And then of course the big hire for Brandon Sosna. Like I said, I'm a huge fan of that guy, and I think that combination of Bone and Sosna has really made a significant difference for the athletic department, and especially for Clay Hilton and the football team.
Yeah, and my thing in the beginning, when Bone was first hired, I was kind of excited because this guy has a lot of experience. Colorado, Cincinnati's basketball program is actually has done very well historically. So he knows, but it was the things that he said after the Clay Helton, he decided to retain him, that I'm like, this guy doesn't get it. But then after a while, what wound up happening is he just, I'm going to stop talking and I'm just going to do things. And I think that's what, for me, that was his turning point. Instead of being on Twitter and putting all this stuff out there, he just went, hired Todd Orlando, hired, Dante Williams, hired Vic Otto, all those guys, at Clay, that's who he wanted, and he did that. But he did his work and just did it without, any type of fanfare, any type of anything. He just hired the guys, and I think that's where that's where I think he kind of learned, I'm going to stop, trying to be rah guy and just do my job. I think Sosna has a lot to do with that as well. And I know I shared this before, I'm really excited about the new video guys. I think that, that's the thing. I mean, these are kids, they want to see the videos. They want to see the hype videos. It draws attention to the program, and I think when these guys get here, or I should say they're already here, but you could already see some of those videos are already starting to come out, and you can see the difference, that of how much they're showcasing,
We posted as much as we can on LOT all the time.
Yeah. And like you said, bringing back Reggie Bush, bringing back Chris Claiborne, Hayes Pilar, especially the Reggie thing. I mean, the fact that they brought him back the minute he was able to come back and didn't, hey, let's wait next week. Are we going to do something? Or are we not going to do something? No, day one, he's back, And again, my biggest wish as a real FU to the NCAA would have been have that press conference at 12:01 a.m. That to me would have been the ultimate, bring him back at exactly 1 minute. Hey, look, we're back. And to me, that was great. But something, 9 o'clock in the morning, that's good enough for me. I'm just glad he's back.
Yeah, and that was a question that I forgot to ask Max, and I don't think we discussed it last week with Mark Culkin and Scott Schrader from USC Scoop. But the impact of having Reggie Bush back on campus. I mean, for the fans, that's huge. For people that have been around the program for quite some time and followed it, like, yeah, we were devastated when it happened. Some people had some thoughts of, whether or not Reggie should ever come back, or, they still feel that way. But I would say majority of the people support Reggie Bush coming back and are elated to have him back. You can hear the kids express it, how excited they are just to be able to meet Reggie. I mean, I think I saw an interview, and I believe Chris Claiborne still hasn't met Reggie Bush, and he's excited and elated to be able to have the opportunity to meet him. So that's going to be, pretty big. And I feel it's almost like, Captain Planet with all our powers combined, type of thing, where like you got, like you said, Chris coming back to coach, Hayes Pilar. We have Bone on now. We have Brandon Sosna, Reggie Bush coming back. I feel like everything's starting to matriculate and happen for us to be able to be where we want to be here in the near future. And I think, week 1 against Alabama, there's a lot of people out there that are doubting the Trojans, but I'm gonna tell you right now, maybe I'm biased, but I really think that we're gonna pull it out against Bama, and it's gonna be a better game than what people are anticipating.
I think it'll be a better game. I really do. Especially, Bama's, we always say Bama's always Bama, but at the same time, they lost a lot of their secondary. They have a new quarterback. Their offensive line, defensive line are still going to be good, but still, I mean, there's always a certain point where you just can't keep, replacing guys and expect to be, a top 3, top 4 program. Even Pete Carroll couldn't even do it. His final year, he wasn't a top 14. So eventually it catches up to everybody. Let's just hope it catches up, to Nick Saban on first Saturday in September. Let's hope.
Yeah.
Like I said, I'm an eternal optimist. I'll always go into the season thinking we can win, even though I know we won't. I always like to think that we can win every game. That's just the way I think.
Me too.
And I've been doing that since my freshman year. So we'll see. I just want to have a season. That's the only thing.
Yeah. Hopefully we have a season and we can glorify all this and all this hard work these boys have been putting in and all the work that the administration has been putting in, and we can receive the benefits of all that work that they've been putting in since last spring.
Yeah. I also, may as well also mention is, the number of, positive cases that we haven't had, at USC. They posted numbers yesterday. Was it 56 people tested and only 1 positive, as opposed to Clemson, who has 40 positive cases on
there? No, I feel like it's a lot higher than that, but it's pretty up there.
Yeah, it was 23 initially, and then another 15 or whatever again, and I'm sure there are more. I'm thankful that our numbers are low, and we'll see how it continues moving forward. Arizona, you're in Arizona, you guys just shut down again too, right? The bars and the restaurants and stuff.
Yeah, just today. So that's the thing. Despite us, USC having less cases, I still feel that it'll affect other programs who may have, a lot more cases. Are they willing to travel? Are they going to willing to play against players that are, positive? So it's going to be interesting to see what the approach will be, and as we move forward. So Darius Tanner says we need to see if we can get Taylor Mays back.
I saw that.
I agree, and to be honest, I don't know if we'll get him on as a coach, but I know I've seen him on a couple other USC social media sites, journalist sites, on there talking, and he's pretty involved with USC as far as being on campus and knowing what's going on and stuff like that. So that's a positive. I feel like more of the alumni and the players that have played in the past will now start coming to the practice and start coming to the games, and you'll start seeing them on the sideline, just for the simple fact that all the momentum is moving forward right now for USC. And having Reggie Bush back, that's just going to be no way around it. Like every time you mention Reggie, somebody's going to want to be there at the same time that he is. So it'll be nice to see a guy like Marcus Allen, Willie McGinnis on the sideline like they always are, along with Reggie Bush and Matt Leinart and Lendell White, guys like that, Dwayne Jarrett, coming back to their alma mater to support the football program and watch them get to the next level again.
Yeah, and the other thing, we talked about the coaches and changing the culture, but now that I really think about it, I mean, even Bond, the way he's approaching, the alumni players is the same thing, as a coaching staff. It's a different. He's like back in the day with Pat Hayden and and Lopes and Lynn Swan. It's almost like they didn't. I don't think players felt welcome. I mean, that's why John Robinson's at LSU. That's why they just didn't feel like they were wanted here. But now it's like, let's bring them all back. Come on, we want you. You're part of our history. You're part of USC football. The glory years. So.
Yeah. Scott Rodriguez says, it'll be interesting to see what they'll do for the players if for some reason there isn't a season this year, and that's something that I've been thinking about as well the last couple of days. Like, what if they decide, hey, we aren't going to have a season? Are they going to allow the players to stay another year to play? I mean, I wonder how that's going to work out, because realistically, there's a small percentage of kids that have the opportunity to make it to the league, especially when you're playing for a program like USC, right? And so you don't want to take that opportunity away from them. Obviously, the most important thing is going to be for them to graduate, get their degree from USC, and move on to bigger and better things post USC. But for kids that really are in position to have the opportunity to play at the next level, I wonder what the NCAA is going to do to ensure that they don't lose out a year of eligibility. You know, are they going to let them come back, you know, begin your master's program or transfer or something like that so that they can still play and showcase their talents so they can have an opportunity to go play in the NFL?
Yeah, and the other thing is, how are you going to balance out scholarships? You know, you can't have, you know, these players lose a year eligibility, you know, without, you know, increasing from 85 scholarship players on up. Because you know, if it does happen, I mean, if you have to hold over this entire class another year, you're going to have an extra 25 players or more, you know, who are going to be on scholarship. You can't, you know, just shove a bunch of people out the door. You know, so how are they going to work at the scholarship number? Same with baseball. You know, baseball, they didn't have it. See, well, everyone who was eligible, they got an extra year eligibility. Well, you know, what about scholarships? You know, you're limited with 12 point something scholarships per team for SC. And all of a sudden, all the players that were going to leave didn't leave. So how are you going to redistribute the scholarship numbers?
And then you want to think about the monetary aspect of this too. Like, you know, whether, you know, people want to discuss or not, the football programs and most of these Division I universities are the driving force for the economics of the university and bringing in money. You know what I mean? So I know they definitely don't want to miss out on that. I'm pretty sure that they are already losing out on money just with the whole situation that's happening and stuff like that. But for college football not to happen, a lot of these universities and a lot of these other departments within the university are going to lose out on a lot of money that they receive because of football. So it'll be interesting to see what kind of waivers or what kind of changes will be enforced to ensure that there still is a season. I personally believe there's still going to be a season. I think there might be a limitation on travel. Maybe, you know, games like us where we go to Notre Dame, you know, all the way across the country, they might feel like, hey, you know, we're not going to do that at least for a year till we figure out what's going on with COVID, and make everything regional and maybe cut the season down to 10 games for everybody or 11 games, you know, depending if you have a conference championship.
Well, I mean, for us, a good thing is, you know, the furthest travel for game this year was going to be Dallas, you know, and Oregon. Those are the two furthest. Or maybe Colorado might be farther. I mean, but we're not going across country. We're going halfway across the country. We don't play at Notre Dame this year. So we do have the benefit if we're going to keep those games on the schedule. Whether or not Notre Dame is going to be allowed to come out here, that remains to be seen as well, right? Because it works that way as well. So we'll see. And there's just so many moving parts to this whole thing. There's so many moving parts to, and they're all moving differently all across the country. You know, California versus Arizona versus Texas, you know, versus, you know, the Southeast region. Everyone has to deal with it differently because of the different, you know, levels of precautions that have to be taken with the higher population versus sparser population. But, you know, at the end of the day, you got to have as much of a level playing field as possible in order to maintain a competitive balance. That's the way I look
100%.
at it. You know,
100%.
But we'll see. I mean, those are, you know, like I said, those are, you know, things that they didn't think about and they have to really start thinking about. But we'll see where it goes from here.
All right, Terry, that's all I got for this week. We'll try to get a new guest on.
I do want to mention one other thing. It was an interesting thought that I had with Under Armour canceling their contracts with UCLA and Cal. You know, and someone made a very interesting point. It could very well be with the new rules coming up that maybe instead of, you know, sponsoring the entire team, let's just sponsor a player and give him the money. So that was an interesting point someone made up, but that's going to be kind of tough because the schools will still have their apparel contracts. So if, say, UCLA decides they're going to go with Nike, you know, how is you know, DTR going to get represented by UA, you know, when the school's, you know, represented by someone else? You know what I'm saying? So there's going to be a lot of interesting things with that whole, you know, losing that contract, because that's a huge deal. $250 million.
It is. You know? But I think the numbers were they're either in the negative or they're barely meeting you know, the quota for what they needed to do as far as sales and stuff like that, which is unfortunate for the university, you know, even if it is the Bruins, but the Boo Bruins, as Lindell White says. But you never want to see that for any university or any athlete that has the opportunity to play at that collegiate level, to see something like that happen. I'm sure somebody will probably jump on board because UCLA is still a big market location. You're in LA. You know, their basketball program historically has been great. You know, I'm sure they'll rebound. So I could foresee somebody like Adidas coming back, like you mentioned before in our chat, and or maybe them spurring off their other program, Reebok, their sub program Reebok to take over. But I don't think those schools will be without a sponsor for very long.
No, you can get a sponsor, but just a matter of, it won't be $250 million. That's for sure.
Right. Right.
Like I said, it's just, and unfortunately, UCLA is struggling financially as it is, not just the athletic department, but the school overall is struggling. I think I shared with you, my cousin being a professor over there, how much, he knows some of the numbers and it don't look good, and then you got the new athletic director starting. Man, talk about having a tough job day one. You coming into an athletic department that's already what $60 or $70 million, if not more, in the hole. And now you lose $250 million.
Well, not only that, Terry, you're also paying a head coach who hasn't really performed to the level of his name, so to speak. While he's been there, and I don't have a problem with that, by the way. Especially from him coming from Oregon and now UCLA, two programs that I don't wish them well on the football field when they play against us. So that's more money that's just kind of like going down the drain. It'd be interesting to see if the AD comes in there and cleans house.
Scott Rodriguez just said UCLA just got a new shoe deal with Buster Brown.
Scott, we're hoping that they get a shoe deal with what'd you say, Terry?
Buster Brown? Birkenstock?
No. No, the Triple B.
The Big Baller brand.
The Big Baller brand, yeah. And see how that works out for them. Big Baller brand and UCLA combining together.
All right, brother. We good?
All right, bro. Yeah. Hey, thanks for everybody that tuned in today to our podcast for the Roundtable. We're going to try to get another guest next week. I'll reach out to a couple players and coaches. Scott Rodriguez, if you're watching this, if you and Jason want to join us, shoot us a message. We'll be more than happy to have some offensive linemen on here talking the O-line and Trojan football. For everybody else, thank you for the support, and we'll see you guys next week. Fight on.
Fight on.